Welcome back to the Hook Road Studio. I'm Jason Horsler and today's lesson is about hitting a drum. Sounds like such a strange title for a lesson, but let's get into it and you'll see the advantages. It's really a mental lesson. It's really a academic sort of topic we're looking at, because once you become aware of these things and you've tried a few of the exercises out that we're going to have a look at, this will sort of become part of your playing without even too much effort. It really is a logical way of playing the drums. So for the real beginners out there, the first thing I'll say is one of the biggest sins I see in really beginner drummers is something which I call dirty and clean strokes. When you hit the drum, you've got to really let the stick come back off the drum. If you hit a drum and hold the stick down even for a second, you're going to be deadening the sound of the drum. You're going to let shock waves shoot up the stick into your hand. To press a stick into a drum means that you're holding the stick too tight as well, so you can get all sorts of problems like injuries and blisters, and of course the sound is just going to be rubbish. If it's a really tight stretched drum like a snare drum, you're going to get a dirty stroke which sounds like this. Extra bounces in there. What you really want is a nice clean stroke. Let the stick do what it naturally wants to do, which is to hit and come back off. Now let's move into something a little bit more technical. I'm going to use the analogy of a pool game. I'm sure most of you or all of you have played some pool before. So I ask all my pupils, how do you win in pool? What are the two strategic ways of winning a game of pool? There's the obvious way, which is to sink the balls. But the less obvious way, the way that really good pool players do it, is also to control the white ball. If you sink your red ball in the corner pocket, does the white ball seem to magically end up in a perfect position to make your next shot really easy? And then you sink that green ball, and now you're in a position where you can no longer sink any of your balls, but you've placed the white ball so far away from your opponent's balls that they have to really make a great shot to get the next pocket. And that's how you win the game of pool. So if we bring that analogy back onto our drum pad, how do you hit a drum? Well, the obvious answer is to hit the drum. The least obvious or the less obvious answer is to think about the next shot after that one. And if you're aware of what you're going to be needing to do in the next shot, the white ball is the stick. How do you control the stick after the shot so that it's ready and in the best place for the next shot? So since what we're trying to do is play dynamically, so we can play loud strokes and soft strokes, essentially just in today's lesson we're going to look at 4 different ways of hitting a drum. So yes, I'm going to hit this drum, I'm going to hit, well, this practice pad, I'm going to hit it hard. I want to get a nice loud sound out of it. But what am I going to do next? What's the next stroke my right hand has to play? If the next stroke that my right hand has to play is a loud stroke, I need the stick to be back up here again. So I need to hit the drum and have the stick come all the way back over here. We call this the full stroke, and there are very few better qualified authorities on this than Dom Famularo. So definitely go and have a look at his book, which is called It's Your Move, and if you just look him up on YouTube, you'll see quite a few videos where he demonstrates this really well. But basically the idea is simple. When you hit a drum, the stick wants to come back. I'm going to hit this drum and let go of the stick, and the stick's going to come back and fly all over the place. That's a lot of energy. I'll do it again, see if you can get the angle just right. Watch how the stick really flies back. Alright, so all we have to do is, we don't need to add any energy to the up part of the stroke. All we have to do is guide it so it doesn't end up on the floor. So you just follow the stick up with your hand, and just make sure that it's going in a reasonable direction, where it ends up where you started, really. So this is the full stroke. In slow motion, I'm going to hit down, but then straight away, just follow the stick so it comes back up. So it will look like this. Now, it's hard. You're going to have to take me on my word. I'm really not pulling the stick up at all. I'm pushing down and just following it up. It feels like I'm bouncing a basketball, actually. So it really is like a basketball. Actually feels quite nice. I love the full stroke. So a full stroke is when you're going to play a loud note, and the next stroke your right hand is going to play. In this case, it's going to be a loud stroke, so we need to come back to our starting position. Right. Now, if we're going to hit a loud stroke, but the next stroke has to be a soft stroke, we have to end up with our stick down here. So the name of this stroke is a downstroke. So the starting position is going to be there, and after the stroke, the white ball, the stick, is going to have to be there somewhere. I like to think of it as roughly a fist space above the drum. It sort of gives you about 2 or 3 inches above the drum. So I'm going to hit the drum, let the stick come up a little bit, but catch it before it comes too far. And there it is. So that's the downstroke. If you've been drumming for a while, you'll probably find your left hand is better than your right hand if you're a right-handed drummer, simply because your left hand has always been tucked underneath your right hand, so your left hand has become quite used to playing and staying down so it doesn't come up into your hi-hat stick, like that. Alright? So your left hand's probably better at the downstroke if this is the first time you're encountering this. So, sorry. One way of judging this and starting to get some accuracy, this is one of the exercises I'd like you to try. You set up one of your sticks as a goal post. So I'm going to put it over here so that the tip of this stick is a fist space above the drum. And then I'm just simply going to hit with my other stick and try and make sure that the tip of my other stick lines up with the tip of this stick over here. So I'm just going to go like this. Just going to see if you can... Yeah. So I'm just doing that a couple of times just to get that control. And that's the downstroke. The other way to do it is to play one then the other, so that the right hand becomes the goalpost for the left hand. So like this. And you can mess around with the end position. So if I wanted to play really soft little ghost notes, I'd want to end down there and not up there. So you've got to really sort of control where that is. But unless you are sort of a field marching percussionist, don't get too hung up on the accuracy side of things. Once again, as I said, this is more an academic thing. You sort of just understand the principles involved, and your drumming will start to follow suit, and you'll start finding yourself making these motions automatically. Now, if we're going to play a soft note and follow it with a soft note, then we really are just going to have our stick starting here and ending there. Very little energy in this equation. So this is called the tap stroke. It's almost as if you're not even hitting down, you're just letting gravity take control of the stick a little bit. Not really. You have control over it, but it's really a very, very gentle sort of thing. It's coming through a little bit of space. Not much there. So that is the tap stroke. And then our fourth type of stroke is the upstroke, which is when you're going to hit a soft stroke followed by a loud stroke. And you're going to need to have the stick starting down there, and you're going to make the stroke and end up with the stick up here in the air. So we go. Now this one is really the opposite of the full stroke, in that instead of hitting and following the stick, here we're tapping, there's no energy, we have to pull up on the stick, which is really the opposite of the full stroke, which is just pushing down. So the tap stroke, it's necessary to pull up on the stick. One thing I didn't mention with the full stroke is that it does also depend on the amount of bounce you get on your drum. So for example, if you're playing on a floor tom, there may need to be a little bit of pulling up on the stick, depending on the, if you hit right in the middle of the floor tom, it's really squidgy. So there might, your body will make the adjustments, but as far as possible, try and put the energy in a sort of downward face only, and not try and pull up too much on the sticks. So with this one, with the upstroke, we really do need to tap and pull up. Tap and pull up. Now, what you want to try and avoid is setting your stick up and then doing this. Did you spot what I did wrong? Let's try again. Set the stick up. I did something wrong there. Now I'll do it right and see if you can spot the difference. This is correct. And this is incorrect. What I did wrong is if I've set my stick up over here, it doesn't make sense for me to lift a little bit before I hit the drum and pull up. It makes no sense to go up, down, up if I've already made the effort to get down there ready for that stroke. So it's an extra movement, and at the speeds we're eventually going to be playing at, those extra movements are ridiculous. They just take up extra space and time. It's like hurdles in a sprint race. It's there to slow you down. You don't need it in your drumming. So what I say to my pupils is, if you were a learner driver driving in your driving test, I know in South Africa and I think in Britain it's the same, you have a thing called an incline start where the car has to come to a dead stop on a hill and you have to put the brake on and then you have to get the engine revved up and pull away, you know, in first gear, and if the car even rolls back 1 millimeter, they fail you. So in this case, once your stick is in position, moving up even 1 millimeter is a fail. What you want to try and do is think down only and then pull up. Come to a dead stop, down only, and then pull up. So what you'll notice with these 4 strokes is that the downstroke and the upstroke dovetail quite nicely together, because the downstroke gets us in the position ready for the upstroke. So it's quite nice to actually go downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke. So that's a good exercise to do, and if you did that with 2 sticks, you would have downstroke, downstroke, upstroke, upstroke. I like a bit of a Muller action when I start speeding up. For the upstroke, I tend to go like that. So that's just because I've done Muller for such a long time. I really like the way it feels. So. With a bit of a swing on it. And then you can combine all 4 strokes together. So you play full stroke, downstroke, tap stroke, upstroke. So what you're getting is 2 accents and 2 soft notes. And you could do it with both hands, so that makes quite a nice sort of symmetrical exercise. Full stroke, downstroke, downstroke, tap stroke, up, up, full, down, down, tap, tap, up, up. And so on and so forth. But like I said, this is really academic. So what you do is you set yourself up with a little bit of an accent pattern, something like, and what you'll do is you watch yourself and you'll actually see that you're starting to do tap strokes and upstrokes and downstrokes and full strokes. I hope this has been helpful to some of you, and certainly I put this video together mainly for my own pupils, but if you're a newbie to my videos, please go and have a watch at the other ones that I've made. This is video number 56 already, and thank you very much for the kind comments I've been getting on some of the other videos, and please subscribe. I'll see you soon. Got a whole bunch of stuff still coming. Cheers, and since it's that time of year, Happy Christmas.